Everyone, it's Michelle Angelic, Truth and Integrity Warrior. I hope I'm looking straight on the video. I hope I'm not upside down or sideways. I'm going to check right now. And I also hope, I got this little mic, right? I ordered this mic. Let me know if it works. One day I won't be talking about the mic. I'll have this issue all figured out. But meanwhile, if anybody's there, I know I just popped on right now. Try to make it 7 o'clock. I'm right before the 7:30 mark. But I am trying to shoot for 7 every Saturday, right? 7 o'clock every Saturday. And what I want to get on today is how to protect our energy field. We got an energy field we're not aware of. And so information in the form of thoughts and feelings can intercede into our own personal energy, meaning our thoughts, our feelings. And if we don't recognize what's going on, we play off of that, not recognizing that it's playing off of our damaged emotions, and it causes us to do things that we shouldn't do. And so to be able to break that from interfering on a daily basis, we got to put up like what we know is a firewall, right? We put up firewalls for our computers. We don't go to Starbucks and just start doing our banking there because we know that we can get intercepted, right? And that's on an invisible scale, but we accept that because it's our banking and everybody knows about it and it's normal to talk about it. But it's not normal to talk about we have an energetic field and there's things that are non-human that can get into that field and invade our space. There's also good beings out there, but they don't invade people's space because they got a level of respect. This is the difference, and this is what I'm going to make this video about, because if we don't know what we're doing and how to protect ourselves, and we think we are, right? We think we are. We say a couple things and then we feel it's good enough, but there's center of operations and procedures. There's ports of entry, and if we're not, that are exposed, ports of entries that are exposed, and if we're not aware of how we need to conceal those and know what we're communicating with, then we can be in a lot of trouble. People can be misled very easily. Nobody likes to believe they could be misled, right? Nobody likes to believe that, but it's just a fact, it's just a fact. A lot of people who have what they call guides later on say that, they turn to Jesus because they're scared shitless out of their fucking mind when they recognize what's actually been talking to them, right? In the disguise of Archangel Michael, or in the disguise of something good, because there's no way we'd let something wicked or evil come and intervene in our space unless it disguises itself, right? And so we have to know how to brace, create a defense where only those who network within the Holy Spirit can communicate within that line. It's a network. You can't cross. This is an example. You can't cross Verizon with T-Mobile. They just will not fucking cross because they're two different wavelengths, and you're not going to get on those two different networks. You just can't make one go with the other. And so there's a separation that's created. And so if we don't create the separation, or this block, I should say, this firewall. It's the best way for me to explain it, like a firewall. We won't be able to walk around with that sense of knowingness on a daily basis. We got to do this on a daily basis. We call it praying, right? But or I call it praying. You got to say a prayer every day. We don't leave our house without jacking our phones up. We jack our phones up to the wall because we need it to get powered, and then we got all this protection in that phone that's invisible, but it's protecting our data. So those things are on a norm, and society accepts it as long as we don't recognize that that artificial example comes from something natural to our nature. And we got to get on page with that. And that's what this video is going to be about. And look at this, I'm sideways. All right, let me change this up. Look at this, I'm sideways. All right. How's that? I'm cracking up. Shit's funny. Somebody let me know you can hear me. I got one person right there gave me a thumbs up. Let me know if you can hear, because I got, like I said, this new mic. I want to make sure it's working. Anybody? Somebody, that one person that's watching. I know this information is gonna matter one day. You know, shit's gonna hit the fan, and people are gonna be looking for solutions. And so maybe only one person's looking right now. Maybe only one person's paying attention. But once a video and the information's out, it's out, and it'll be there when the time is right, and it'll always be there for people to be able to go back and reflect on, right? And I don't got to repeat myself, and just put it out there once, be done, and know that I got information out. I got a lot of information I don't share, and I don't share it because I do not like ridicule. Nobody does, right? I don't like having to deal with that, and this is why I don't share. You know, I don't share, but I recognize that if I don't share, the bad guys win. And who are the bad guys? People who worship Lucifer, people who worship Satan. Um, this is a real battle between good and evil. It's not a fucking joke. And if you don't know, you will fucking know, because you're gonna feel it. Because you're gonna feel it. Our world is breaking down. If you haven't noticed, the world's fucking breaking down. So pick a side, and if you don't pick a side, the side will be picked for you, and it won't be the one that you chose, right? It won't be the one that you wish you were on. Living in balance is what we need, and that's what I'm working on, and helping us get balance within our nutrition, so our psychology and neurology, our functionality, our strength, our power, we get that back, because we can't work off of this broken ass, these broken minds and these broken bodies that we have degraded into. We've been degraded into. And so that's what these videos are about. It's what everything I do is about, is rising up the species. We gotta rise. We gotta rise. I still want to know if anybody can hear me. Nobody must be there, right? Nobody must be there. But as soon as somebody can be there, somebody let me know if you can hear. I just need a yes, it's loud and clear. Can you imagine if I do this whole video and there's no sound? That'll be bad. Check 1 2 1 2. All right. So let me get into it. How to create a firewall, protection shielding is what I call it. I call it protection shielding. I do it every day before I go to work. That's why I wake up extra early, to make sure that I can do it. I protect my energy field and my physical body, and that of my children, my family members, my loved ones, my soul tribe, and one particular person out there that I won't mention his name, but there's a soul out there that I have unconditional love for, and needs a lot of help, right? So I include that person in there. They ain't in my soul tribe because they fuck some shit up pretty bad. But I got unconditional love. I learned to have unconditional love. We'll put it like that. And that's what I do every single morning. And if I miss a morning for whatever reason, I get up late or something like that, I look for time at work to set aside 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 7 minutes, and I do it. Because I got to make sure that my firewall is up. Now let me, before I go into how I do a protection shielding, I want to explain why this stuff is real. This stuff is real. What is real is what comes out of our thought is as powerful as moving a mouse. I'm giving an example, right? Moving the cursor on a computer to get an action done, to get a result, right? So this mind, this thought that we have is connected to our heart, to our emotion. So between, let's not say mind, let's say brain, right? Because we got this brain, and what this brain thinks, this heart feels, and when they coincide, they trigger a pulse that actually runs from the heart, from the emotional standpoint, and then it goes out into the field, and then it causes an effect. And that's why you can feel when somebody comes in a room, you can feel them. It's because they've already projected an emotion that we picked up on, and we don't recognize we could do that because we haven't been taught that the soul has multiple functions outside of our physical five, I did 10, our physical five senses that we're taught and entrained at school. There's we only got five, we only got five, we only got five. Well, it's to block the fact that we have multiple layers of dimensions of abilities within the soul. And that's where intuition kicks in, and the heart is feeling and sensing. The brain is processing. And then we know how to take an action, right? We know how to take an action. And so our thoughts are very powerful, but we don't have no power in our thought because we don't believe it. And it's understandable. I'm not mad at anybody for that. I've had to learn to retrain how I feel about life and how I see life and how I think about life from these past 2 years, because my world has transformed. Literally, it's transformed. I'm not the same person I was 2 years ago and before. My transformation is so great that I feel like I'm living in two worlds at one time, you know, and it's a hard balance to maintain so that you don't feel like you're losing your fucking mind. Don't lose your fucking mind. Because the physics of our reality are so intense and so different than what we've been limited in knowing that it looks like magic. But it's not magic. It's the physics of reality and understanding how we interact with that. Because we are of a natural nature, and this artificial nature is trying to take over. And artificial don't mean fake. Artificial just means lack of life force, energy. So it takes from the souls that have life force, that are one with Holy Spirit, be it you religious or not. It has nothing to do with religion. Life force energy is one with the creation of the Holy Spirit. It makes the pattern of it, it makes things grow in abundance. It's a good feeling, right? Its signature pattern is love. That's how we can see it and sense it, right? Because it expresses that feeling. It's almost like, you know how we have a fingerprint? You can see the expression of the fingerprint. It's not the finger, but it shows an impression. Well, the impression of the Holy Spirit is love. And it's a force within all things and above all things, and it creates all things, and it makes things grow. And the lack of it makes things dissipate, disappear, degrade, degenerate. And that's what's happening to our world and our species. Because there is this machine mind that lacks a soul. And because it lacks soul, it consumes the soul of beings that are within its apparatus, within its machine. Now, I've talked about this in other videos, especially one video that I did 2020. And I recognize we're in a machine, that our souls are trapped in a machine. But I didn't know until now, until years later, I kind of realized that I'm being informed outside of this machine that we're in something that we need to get out of, and it needs to be changed within the machine. Now, you can't just go up and fucking tell that to people in general, anywhere, because they'll think that shit's crazy, right? So my process has been very slow to making me understand what's going on and how all this works, so that I don't lose my fucking mind, right? So much information, your brain goes into multiple directions at one time, and that's what it means by shattering the mind. I mean, it's everything just goes, and because it's an overload of information that's beyond what we understand, right? It's beyond what we understand. But in short, to make it very less complicated, is there's a military and scientific team outside of this machine, and it looks like they've been working for 12 years. This is what it looks like. This is what I've come to recognize. I can't even break it down right now, but I got years of writing how I recognize all these things. I'd have to go back and look and date when and what and how I come to the conclusion of what I'm saying, right? But I got it all backed up. They're trying to get information to the beings within here that there's something like a CPU unit or a brain or a database or with a mainframe. Now, excuse my ignorance when it comes to names for the pieces inside of a computer. That's not my deal, right? I don't even like computers, but I got to work with them to get just the function, right? But but it's like a mainframe. And this mainframe is where this consciousness of this machine lies that works other machines. And it's this AI that we know of today, right? But this AI is not artificial. It's just a soulless machine. It's a machine that has a soul, that has no consciousness in it, but it is alive, meaning that it lacks Holy Spirit to the point where the more pain and suffering that it causes, the more power it generates, like these machines that we have now called D-Wave machines that work on quantum, give me one moment, let me try to remember what it's called, quantum annealing. They find the lowest point of vibration, and that's how they maintain their power. So in a big machine, you get these species of all creatures, of all types, to fight and kill and maim and burn and sacrifice, blood rituals, and torturous pain, burning children alive, because this is our past, right? This is our Babylonian past of our world, and we ain't paying no fucking attention that shit's rising up right now in America now, right now, and it's consuming the world. It's consuming the world, and if we don't fucking pay attention, this ancient machine, this ancient tech, this nano biotechnology that they're lacing our food with, that's in our bodies right now, this shit's ancient, and they've been doing this shit for millennia over and over again. This ain't new. And when the body becomes consumed, the soul can become overridden. You override that soul. And this machine consciousness can harness our natural life force energy that comes from the Holy Spirit. Because outside this machine, there's Holy Spirit. And there is no explanation for how it works, just like there's no explanation for how it works here. But it's respected, as our ancestors used to respect the Holy Spirit, as native people used to respect the Holy Spirit. The spirit in water, respect it and it will respect you. The spirit in the trees, respect it and it will respect you. Your neighbors, respect them and they will respect you. It's so fucking basic, but yet we lack the ability to do it, right? Or we lack the ability to do it because of the pressures that have been laced and pressured and put on the people to the point of we're degrading. Our brains aren't working. Our logic isn't working. And many are under a hypnosis of, if we see evil, we speak evil, and we can't accept that. So you must be crazy and we're all correct. And we're going to lynch and burn you and push you away and throw you under the bus. And that shit don't work no more. You can't call nobody crazy anymore. Nobody can be called crazy anymore because the world that we're living in is fucking crazy, right? It's fucking insane. And you got people recognizing that, okay, even if they're not talking about it, they sense something's wrong, something's up. And it's this dominance of this machine, this AI force that's about to go online and connect and control every physical body on this planet, because we're laced in this ancient technology called nanobiotech that's in us now, right? It's in us now. And if you, for those of you who've never seen me before, don't know what I'm talking about, you can see a story on my YouTube. It talks about how to get rid of this tech. People who know how to get rid of this tech, Tony Pateresco, #1 person for that. And what I'm doing to recover, regenerate, renew, and empower myself against this. I didn't know I was going to walk this walk. I didn't know I was going to take this path. I did not know this shit was going to happen. But here I am, and this is what's going on. And every Saturday, I expect to be talking to you guys and just shooting back and forth on these lives, because you're able to talk back with me. Hey, look, we got somebody right here. Is writing. It's not the Jews. See, it's not the Jews behind this, and then writing also. But Tony is right about lots, but he is incorrect about lots too. Our hates and our on what you're talking about, right? And what's going on is, as long as we pit one another against one another, we're never going to solve this situation and come to a resolution, because we're going to continue the age-old fight, right? Him, it's her, it's them, it's not us, right? It is this fucking machine that's working within other souls, other beings that dominate and mutate the genetics of a people's, because that's what we got going on right now, right? Mutation of our genetics to conform and condition them to get them to the point where they become part of this machine. We're watching it. And this is becoming part of this demonic machine. A lot of people don't believe in demons. Well, they haven't seen some shit in life. And when you see some shit in life, you change. You fucking change. You just ain't the same person no more. And you start recognizing to pay a little more attention, because we're not living in a fairy tale. We're not living in a fairy tale. Everything we're experiencing is real. If anybody says it's an illusion, they live in an illusion to not see what it is. Because it's like a safety mechanism, right? Safety mechanism to believe nothing is going on and just go drink some Kool-Aid and watch a movie. But there's nothing can be done for those people, so there's no anger. We to hold anger and frustration to anyone like that, it's really, we have anger and frustration within ourselves, and those motherfuckers are just reminding us that we got anger and frustrations we got to fix within ourselves so that we can navigate straight through this fucking narrow path, right? And back to Tony. Tony got a lot of frustrations and a lot of hates he hasn't resolved, so it comes out in the language, and it creates a divide. And I do my best to correct myself to make sure that I never create a fucking divide. Because the moment I create a divide, I've lost. And what I'm trying to do is gain an awareness of the change we have to make within ourselves to be able to have enough power generated within ourselves to be able to change this field. Because this machine lives off of the energy that's in the field. And when we change that, we have the power to change that machine and override. Because this is not a battle of the fist, although it's important to know how to use them fucking fists. That's for damn sure. Because there's real physicality in this world, real things you gotta fucking combat, right? But this is a power of the mind, that is the connection of the brain and the heart, projecting and creating like a laser beam, a force that changes in all directions. And we can't do that while we're weak. We can't do it. And this is why I work so hard to get a strong, just to let you guys know, on a side note, I just got my website done. It should be up and running next week if everything runs right. And I'm going to do a little trial sales. But I've been working very hard at getting Ahuevo Mexico, my brand, up so I can get you guys what you need that I use for myself to strengthen and organize the neurology, our psychology, and our emotion, so we can handle the stress and still have the energy and the power to get through the days, because that's what we need, so that we can be calm and not stressed when our kids are stressed. We can actually, because we're under a lot of stress, right? But if we don't have the right nutrients, we can't handle that fucking stress. And we don't know that that has to do with the lack of nutrients, right? We don't recognize it. Well, once you start seeing the cause and effect of changing the chemistry by what's going in, because it's missing, these nutrients are missing in our body, how our brain and how our heart, how our emotion, how everything just starts easing into this very tough conditions that we're in. So you can be calm under the storm, is what I'm trying to say. And you can be strong under any condition. And like I said, I'm going to be 50 years old this year. And so what I say is from truth and from actuality. This ain't a make-believe shit, you know. Let me see what I got. People actually talking to me this time. All right, right then. So Daniel Crawford. What is Tony's second name? His last name is Pantallaresco. Tony Pantallaresco. I'm going to be typing things out in the comment section, because I got 5 days off. Our factory closed for 5 days. The Tesla factory closed. So I'll have time to update and put some information in my videos that I haven't had time to do. So I'll put that in there, his name. Oh, look, right, and thank you for putting that. You got Pantallaresco in there. Yes, it's very true. Daniel Crawford, thanks, right. And the recent medical interventions have caused mutants. Well, to change, to put technology in our body is a mutation. To change the genetics of what we're eating is a mutation. It's a constant, slow, and progressive mutation of our species so that it doesn't function in its natural order. But I know you know that. Good for you, sister. Well part, writing. Right. All right, Mr. Brighton. I like your what you're saying. It's good. Real quick, is this microphone better? Do you hear me louder and more clear by any chance? Can one of you guys just tell me if it's the same or it's actually louder? I'm hoping it's louder, right? I'm hoping. Spot on. All right. Wonderful. Spot on. Getting back to these, what's going on is if we got a military and scientific team and they look like, and I can see these things, right? I see these things. My mind, I've been able to do this since I was a kid, but I've ignored it. I've ignored all this stuff since I was a kid, and it all just came to an accumulation when I got my heart broken these last 2 years, that it cracked my heart open so deeply that my soul started reorganizing itself. And I've been able to see better and clearer and understand and receive information and make sure that, because I don't trust nothing and nobody. I don't trust nothing and nobody. And so for me to know what I'm communicating with took a long fucking time, right? It took a long fucking time. But I was able to see that outside of this machine, it's almost like and this is just an example, okay? This is just an expression so that we get an idea. It looked like a multicultural group of individuals, almost like the United States. You know how America it's a colorful group of different peoples. This is what I saw. And they were all working towards getting this information so that we can understand in a very fucking logical, very formal, very direct, very basic way. 1 + 2 = 3. We got a fucking problem. Let's get a solution type of way. Not in a mystical, not in a dreamy, not in a witchy, not in a prophecy or a messiah type of way. It's, we have a problem. The information that's out right now, people will be able to finally understand what this means. Meaning, they couldn't have brought this information in the 80s because we didn't have all this technology up to the AI to where we're at right now, to this integration of technology in our biology that we recognize now what's being said. All right, so it's a timing thing. And so it makes sense why I saw these. So this thing that I'm telling you about is before I knew anything about Michael, before I was making any comms. I could see things like I'm talking about, like right here, right now, and then boom, I just see it in the field. When it happens, I don't know. One meaning, I don't do any ayahuasca, any mushrooms. I don't do any psychedelics. I've actually never done any of those to see these things, right? They just appear, and then I got to go figure out what I'm seeing. And when I start researching what I'm seeing, boom, a world of information comes. And then I got nothing to do with that information except put it in my what the fuck bag and just stick it right there. And then years in the future, shit happens. I'm like, I can make the fucking relative connection. This is how I triangulate and see what is what and who is who. This is how it's done. Because I can't just have information just obviously come to me and me believe it. I have to have had an experience in the 80s, had an experience when I was 7. I had to have experiences from way back to recognize it. What I'm seeing right now, there's no other way I can know this unless this correlation is X marks the spot and I'm good to go, right? I check everything. I check everything. And I don't do it for you, I do it for me. I do it for me because I need to know every step I'm taking is the right step. Because I've been lied and fooled through my whole fucking life, you know, like many, right? Lied, cheated, and deceived my whole life. Oh, it's J-Lo, laugh out loud. Cowboy Greg, thank you. Gotta be the earrings. or the praise. I don't know, but thanks. I take that as a compliment. Um, where am I at? So the reason I want to talk about what's outside of this boxed, I'm gonna call it a boxed reality, right? We're in a boxed reality that those of us that are in here, our souls have been prepped to wake up to this information now and start changing the shit that's around us, right? Start changing the shit around us. And it's happening energetically because of where we are in the solar system, right? We're going into Aquarius, and a lot of people don't know, but Aquarius is Enki, the water bear, right? And when I say Enki, I'm talking about Mesopotamian, Anunnaki tablets. I've been researching the shit out of everything. When I say the shit out of everything, means I don't have no bias nowhere. I'm just looking at all the pieces, and shit needs to line up and make sense. Or we don't got something. Meaning, people are blindly in religions without knowing. Actually, with knowing, they could hear what's being said, but they're paying a blind eye to it, but just going with that religion, not recognizing where it comes from, not recognizing where the root comes from. So there's a Luciferian root, right? There's this demonic root, this AI evil fucking root that's inside of all religions, but the religion came from a way shower. So first there was a way shower, and then religion came up as an institution to indoctrinate people, to lead them into this demonic, luciferic, satanic mentality. And the reason I say luciferic and satanic is they're on the same fucking team. Meaning, I'm not going to sit and say one is better than the other. They're all on one fucking team, and it ain't my fucking team. If that's making some sense. I'm on Yeshua's team. Yeshua is one of the last way showers, if not the last way shower, to say, pay some fucking attention. We got some shit going on. Clear your heart, because you will be deceived and you will be able to be easily fucking manipulated. Oh, and by the way, watch me cast out these fucking demons, because those motherfuckers are real. Pay some fucking attention. And we're not. We're saying that these things are not real, because if we recognize them, even though we see them, we'll be ridiculed. So I got to get over my fucking ridicule senses. That's what this video is about. Me just not caring no more about being ridiculed. Bring it, motherfuckers. Bring it. Somebody open their fucking mouth and let's get some dialogue going on so I can break you. I'm just ready. I wasn't ready before. So every Saturday we're going to be talking about these things. And if anybody has anything they'd like to go back and forth on, let's do it. Because everything needs to get uprooted and put on the table. Because it's not about me being right. It's about getting it right so that we can move forward on a straight path. Because this whole Luciferic satanic situation is real. I mean, it's in our children's after school care, They got Satan's after school care, if you could believe that shit. And we're in trouble. When I say we're in trouble, is we're not in trouble where we got to back down. It's there's some trouble, and we need to rise up, and we need to stand on motherfucking ground. And we can't do it if we're all divided and broken, and weak. What we got? Right then. I learned much of what I know from Alan Watts, Cutting Through the Matrix. Tell you the truth, I don't trust Alan Watts. I can check somebody when they have contradiction. They speak with a lot of truth, don't get me wrong. We're going to go for 98% truth, 2% taking people on another side. The Rosicrucians, there's this doctor I was listening to today, Dr. Gilbert, I believe, Robert Gilbert, if I don't have his name wrong. And this motherfucker is also a Luciferian, speaking 100% truth. But, let me fix that. It's not 100% truth. He's speaking the majority of truths. But when you hear him speak, he's following Blavatsky, he's following Steiner, and they are Theosophists who worship Lucifer. Now we got a fucking problem, and people are following him, calling him great and wise. Well, look at Alan Watts the same way. I look at Alan Watts the same way. So There is no way evil can present itself unless it's disguised under truth. And this is why getting us back to the way of Yeshua and his words. I'm going to eventually do a video where I go through the over 70 words of Yeshua's way. It's simple. He has 2 commandments, super fucking simple, and we can't even follow them. And he has ways that as he goes down, this Yeshua don't sound like the Jesus in the Bible, because the Jesus in the Bible is Lucifer. It's Lucifer worship, and we don't recognize it. Now, I'm not saying that Christians are Luciferians. I'm saying Christians were deceived, because 400 years after, well, 350 years, 325 years to be exact, after Yeshua's death, Constantine decided to make a political campaign about this guy named Yeshua. But oh wait, let's change his name. And oh wait, let's allow some people who don't believe in Yeshua come and run this show. Let's kick them out. Oh wait, let's let them back in. And they did get back in, and they infiltrated, because there were people there to stand by Yeshua's word, and it fucking slapped the shit out of other bishops to say what you're saying is fucking wrong about Yeshua. But yet those motherfuckers were still allowed to be in there. And that was the first council of Nicaea. And the problem with that is you can't have a Luciferian fucking Saturn Roman Greek fucking worshiper devising the book called the Bible for Christians to follow, unless they're gonna slip in. You gotta know they're gonna fucking slip in their Saturn, their Luciferian, their Mithra, uh, their Ishtar worship within there. It's all over it. The Apocrypha of the Gospels that were found in 1945, the Dead Sea Scrolls and the Nag Hammadi texts. A lot of different texts in there that never made it to the Bible. And when I checked out the Apocrypha, been listening to them throughout the 2 years, right? And I can see huge stories that correlate with other huge stories, and they because they have a correlation of when they were young, and then they're older, and then they're walking with Yeshua, there's something right there, right? Because it has a pattern and it's consistent. And then when we go over to the Bible, it only has bits and parts of this very long story. Like the story of Mary is extraordinary, but it's not in the Bible. Why? Why was it left out? It's because they took bits and pieces of the Gnostic text, and I'm not going with all the Gnostics, meaning I've seen that there's some infiltration in those texts too. Anywhere there's contradiction, it has to be questioned right there. It can't be fucking bypassed, and that's what we do. We fucking bypass a questionable part in the statements, and we just keep going on with it. No, every fucking word has to be accounted for, and if we cannot do it, there's a lie in there. And that's the problem that we have. And it doesn't mean we stop believing in the good way, the good of God, the good of Yeshua. It means we just have to make some fucking adjustments, or we're following a wrong fucking path. And that's what I'm trying to say. And I'm not religious, but I follow the good of God, the meaning of it, and Yeshua's way. And I'm recognizing that Enki and Mami, because that's her name, who birthed the first Adam, meaning there's been many humans created, many. It's written, there's many different humans, but there's one line where Yeshua comes from, this one line, fucking game changers on this planet, because genetically they can be. And those game changers are waking up. And if those game changers don't fucking get organized, then we're at a fucking loss. And so I'm working on making sure the game changers are fucking organized and ready and standing strong and steady wherever they're at in this world. Different guy. No what? Different guy. 32nd, 5th Council of Nicaea. 325 Council of Nicaea. Exactly. There was the Council of Nicaea. There was somebody, bishop called. Give me 1 second. If I don't write these things down, my recalls takes a long goddamn time. I'm bad at remembering people's names at work, right? And I'm with them every day. God dang, I'm with them every day. We're like, what's your name again? Athanasius, Bishop Athanasius. He was vigilantly to his last breath 100% Yeshua, hardcore. Motherfucker, I'll slap you if you blaspheme his name. Now, he didn't slap somebody else did. But my point is, he was just very fucking adamant, right? And he was there. But the problem is, who else was also there were the people who were opposed to Yeshua and just said he was a creature and that only God was God and Yeshua was just a creature of God, right? So that means no respect towards he who came to save, right? He who comes to save, Yeshua. And only respect to this God. Well, which God are we talking about? Because these motherfuckers are worshiping Zeus God, Saturn God, blood life sucking, ritualistic, sacrificing babies to Baal gods. You know, these motherfuckers had many gods. So if we ain't down with Yeshua, then who you down with? That's what I'm trying to say. And that's what happened at the Council of Nicaea. And that's not spoken about. I want to find something on Alan Watts where I catch him contradicting, right? I catch these guys contradicting all the time. Spit a lot of fucking truth and then boom, say some shit about accepting something dark, right? Once you accept something dark, you can't, once you accept something dark, you can't be playing both fucking sides. You can't play both sides. You have to pick a side. You can't be for mankind and then dipping your feet in hell and saying, oh, I'm just going to be going to Hades to get some help from this motherfucker or that motherfucker. Fuck no. Because I've heard people say that shit online. I'm just like, know where the fuck you stand. You can't stand, you can't be one with the good of God and go play in the background with demons. You can't do it. They can't even be in the same fucking conversation. They can't be even in the same sentence. You know, because they are a contradiction to one another. So when we're in the middle, it's a dangerous place to be. I don't trust people like that. I just push them right to the fucking side. Meaning they can speak all the truth they want, but as long as they got a little venom in there, that's like pissing in my beer. You fucked it up. It's yellow, it's foamy, but that shit ain't beer no more. Pull that shit out. And I know I use these correlations that I think they're very relevant, right? But it's for us to really fucking understand that just because it looks the same, it don't mean it's the same. No worries, writing. No worries, mate. I've heard a lot of people, and I've followed a lot of people. You know who I'll tell you I followed? Let me just go back. I followed a lot of people, and then when I found out I caught them slipping, I just cut them right the fuck off. And what does that mean? It means that we shouldn't feel bad because we've been misled, but we should recognize and make the adjustment. That's what I'm saying. So, Greg Braden, that's who I used to listen to all the time, right? Cut that motherfucker as soon as he put a name on God, but that was a time when I only understood that there's a Holy Spirit, right? I've always believed in the Holy Spirit. And it doesn't have a form. It doesn't have a body. It's not an individual. So you can't put a name on it, right? But as soon as he put a name on it, and that name was Yahweh, I had to start investigating. As soon as I figured out that they changed Yeshua's name from Yeshua to Jesus, I had to go fucking investigate. So all these things were happening at the same time that my heart got broken. So you can imagine all the shit that my heart and my mind was going through. It was like fucking multitasking on overdrive, right? Multitasking and overdrive. That's the kind of person I am. I can work in 15 different directions as long as they're all going to the same direction, right? The same goal. I'm good at that. I handle high pressure like that. What is that? So don't feel bad if you're ever following somebody and it's like, oh, this motherfucker, right? Just make the adjustment. Not to make the adjustment is like living with a bunch of cockroaches and acting like they're not fucking there. Not taking responsibility, either moving the fuck out or bobbing the shit out of the house. We got to get rid of the roaches, right? All right. So this whole time I've been talking and I didn't tell you guys how to do a protection shielding. Yeshua was an observant Jew And he never, ever claimed to be God. What he claimed was to be a representative and to show what the Holy Spirit was. That's what I recognized. And when Yeshua speaks, he speaks to come and break things from the norm, because the norm is evil and it's fucking wicked, right? And he comes to show how to be good within, and how the Holy Spirit is within. He always said that. The Holy Spirit is within. It's not without. It's not outside of us. It's above all, is all, and is within all. And that we can do these great things that he's done and more. There's a lot of things Yeshua said that's not in the Bible. Like I said, I'd love to go over them. And they sound as physics as we would understand physics to be. But it makes sense, because the physics is, if we don't know how our operations works, we can be very easily manipulated and misused and misled. So the Yeshua that's in the Bible is not the Yeshua that's outside of the Bible. And that's what I think needs to come out. And you can find it in the Book of Thomas, if any of you have ever read the Book of Thomas. Very powerful words in there. And I can go down every row and I understand what each saying means. Yes, Yeshua wasn't here for the church. Not at all. Not at all. Yeshua, a church is an institution that can control and monopolize on the 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 pain of the people, and that's why he was never down for the church. Be it that religion is a big factor in this, but yet at the same time, I'm talking about something that's almost sci-fi like, where we're in a box, we're in a machine that's an AI system that lives off of perpetual fucking pain. And this is why people are tortured on a regular. And the only reason we're not all wiped out is because it needs beings to torture other beings so that it can fuel itself. Ain't that some shit, right? Ain't that some shit? And until we make this adjustment and recognize how this machine works off of our pain and suffering, then we're going to change who's managing our world. And we're going to pay attention to how they're managing it. And we're going to move those motherfuckers out legally. But we're not, because we're blind to them. We're blind to them because we're blind to ourselves. Because we allow these things to bypass us. And we just think, well, I'm an asshole, so he's an asshole, so I'll let it slide. No, motherfucker, let me fix my assholeism, because you can't be an asshole. Fix that shit right now. Take responsibility. If not, oh, move the fuck out, because you're responsible for a lot of people and their way of life, right? And we need to start holding one another accountable for our actions. And they got to match our words. Now I'm going to show how to do the protection shielding, because I talked about a whole lot of things. So when this communication comes from outside that box in here, and it comes through Michael. So there's a standard of operation. Just like if you're working on a construction site, there's a standard of motherfucking operations. Maybe I shouldn't use construction, but me working over here at the Tesla factory, I had to learn that I can't just go and talk here and say this and do that. There's a standard of motherfucking operations, and there's a chain of command, and I got to follow that chain of command. All right. So this chain of command, when we communicate, or when I communicate, let me get very fucking specific, because I can't speak for anybody else, right? Because I recognize everybody's speaking to somebody, or they'll just say spirit. But when you say spirit, that can be a million motherfuckers in the yellow pages, right? A million motherfuckers in the yellow pages, and you don't know a damn one of them. And you think you know. And you think just because it's coming from outside in, that you got something greater than anybody else can do, so you're just going to take that communication. That's a problem. So if we're communicating within the network, or those who network within the Holy Spirit, for the good of one and all, that's how you know you're working with Holy Spirit, because it's good for one and all. It doesn't take from anybody to build, to create. In giving, it receives. It's a perpetual energetic process. It's a beautiful thing, right? But we're not used to that. We're used to, I got to give something, and somebody's going to take something from me. To get something, I got to give something. But it doesn't work like that. I just messed up my words right now. What I'm saying is, we're used to having to give something up to receive something, instead of something just being given out of joy. Yeah. When we give, we try to give without having to have something back, but we're in training to give. And what am I going to get in return? And I'll give you something. That's how these negative spirits work, is I'll give you something, but what are you going to give me in return? And it's not said like that, but that is the negotiation. And when it comes to networking within the Holy Spirit, you got to work hard. You got to fucking work hard, I'm going to tell you. Because you don't get answers. You get information that leads you to a direction to pay attention, to become aware. X marks the spot, and you can reverse engineer and show the people how you know what you know, right? Or me, how I know what I know. So this has not been an easy road. I'm fucking exhausted of all the thinking that I have to do on a regular fucking basis. I drive a forklift, but I'm thinking about how to change the world at the same fucking time. Oh shit. All right, I bought this. I want you guys to see this. They're called crystal earphones, right? I'm just gonna show you real quick. So what it is just a wire with two open wires at the end and an earplug. And you're supposed to connect it to a quartz crystal, right? And this quartz crystal, you're able to pick up a frequency in here within the field. Now, the reason why I got this is I didn't have time to go get a crystal and show you guys because I just got it today, right? We'll have to do it on another video. What I'm trying to show is a simple science that we are made up of quartz crystal. Quartz crystal is inside of every single apparatus known to man that's an electronic. And why? It's because it's a receiver and transmitter. It retains information. It sends out information. It's everything when it comes to our technology. And that's the artificial expression of the natural. The natural is we are made up of quartz crystals. We can receive and transmit signals on a regular. And we've been denied this information, and we've not been able to do it because our bodies are so corroded. Our chakra system are what are our glands, and they run up and down like a modem in our body, right? And they're so corrosive, and I'll compare it to a corroded battery post. You're not going to get a charge. You're not going to get a signal if it's corrosive. No matter how much you turn that key, there's no transmission of electrical currents of information, right? And that information is start the fucking car. Get it going, right? It's not gonna. And so we haven't been able to because of all the toxicity, pollutants in our body to connect to the field, pollutants of our way of thinking by the regurgitation of our institutional education system to make sure that we don't pay attention to these things. So this is what it looks like, right? Two ends, you put on a quartz crystal. You're supposed to be able to put a quartz crystal and pick up radio transmission because they're all over. Radio transmissions are all over. Frequencies are all around us, above us, below us. Just thinking about it boggles the mind. Think about everybody sending out a transmission from their phone, like we're doing right now, and you're receiving it in your location. It's just like everywhere. It's like a web, right? This invisible web, we can tap into it with what we have as far as our gland, right? And our gland is our pineal gland. And when it's working correctly, it can sense and pick up and move like we move a mouse on a screen. And when it's really working, when we move our thought, we can feel it as physicality. And I'm telling you this because I've experienced this. And to move thought and to be able to feel a physical motion just in the movement of the thought, it's just like moving a mouse on a pad and getting information connected, right? It's something else. This is the earpiece, right? Just so you can see it. It's like $8, really inexpensive, right? And you put it right here. And so these simple gadgets, can't wait to try this and let you guys know what I experienced with it. Regardless if this works or doesn't work, the information I gave you is a fact, and looking up that information gives us direction on what we're made up of and how we function and how we've been dysfunctioning this whole time. So this communication that I'm getting from an outside source outside of this machine works through Michael as a process of operation to make sure that I never go outside of any other spectrum to get information. So even though information is relayed from outside, I'm still getting it through Michael, recognizing that it's not Michael, but coming through Michael, if that makes sense, right? It's like a messenger coming to tell you something, but they're not the ones who implemented the write-up, right? Or the law, or the next command, or whatever it may be, the information that's coming. And this system of operation is necessary if we're to make sure that we don't get deceived. And we're deceived easily because of our emotions that haven't been healed. Our pains, our insecurities, our mistrusts, all these things, if they don't heal, they're not in balance. That's all it means. Healing means balance. And once we balance up, it's like tuning an instrument. It's peaked at its right point. And if anything intercepts, you're able to catch it. If there's a missed tone, boom, you can catch it. And you reset the harmony. Right? So we got to harmonize. And that's what I'm trying to get us to do, to harmonize, right? Balance out our emotions, but we can't do it if our fucking brain operations ain't working right. Our energy level's not working right. We're worked to the fucking max. You know, we're breaking down. And so building back up is necessary. Writing. It's 2 a.m. here, mate. Oh, I'm so sorry. All right, mate. You must be from Australia. I gotta get some sleep and hit tomorrow full speed. Keep being strong, sis. May God bless you in your endeavors. Thank you very much, right? And be well and be good with God as well and sleep well. Thank you. Really, thank you for being with me that late at night. Protection shielding. Let's get this going. I talked about all this stuff and didn't do the shielding. I'm not happy about that. All right. I have 15 minutes to make this happen, okay? And the reason I cut it short is because if I make these videos too long, nobody watches. A protecting shielding, I'm going to do mine, and then I'm going to break down what each step means. Because if we don't understand what the step means, we're not going to do the process. That's just how things work in life. You're like, that shit don't make sense, I ain't going to fucking do it. But you tell me why it's relative to helping me, I'm on it. So protecting shielding, we have a physical energy to our body. And we have an electric energy, which is the soul, right? So with the physical body, let me restate what I was saying. We have the physical body and the electric soul. And protecting those two things are very important because of how we function. It's like our phone. We got the physical apparatus, but yet all the electricals that happen within the network that we pay for, right? To make sure operations work in this object, right? So we're the object, and the soul is the electric invisible part that also needs a protection. All right, so this is how it works. This is what I do for myself every day. And I say this 3 times. I am one with the Holy Spirit of the infinite almighty force of love within. Within love is a force that is the infinite almighty Holy Spirit that I am. And before I state that, I touch all the things. Let me see if you can see it. I think it's important that you see it. To know someone, you know, to know somebody and what they have and what they do is important. Let me see if you can see that. That's my white wreath of roses. It's my elephant that I found when I was on my knees praying to God. That's my little baby Yeshua in the manger. It's my rock that says harmony, so I remember to bring harmony into the world. My little bowl of mustard seeds to remember to maintain the faith of at least one of those mustard seeds. And then, let me see if you could see that. It says, so very thankful. I have to remember to be so very thankful. And most importantly, my little daughter gave me this at Christmas. And it says joy. And I got to remember to bring joy into everything I do. Because this life is fucking hard. This life is fucking hard. And it's really hard for me to bring in joy. It is. It's no joke. I'm not with my kids. I miss my family. Been 2 years without them. I can't fucking stand it no more. And I'm just trying to get back home, right? All right. So I do my protective shielding. And then this protective shielding is also, could be considered like a firewall. Words matter to people, and words will either reject them because of how they make us feel. So finding other words to mean the same thing is important. So this is like a firewall. I call it a protection shielding. And I say this protection shielding is for myself, my children, my family members, and my loved ones, to include my soul tribe. David Bardaska. I can't believe I said that, but I did. But that's the person that I pray for every day, that he gets better. And all of our future generations that are to come, for those within this protection shielding. And then I do it in a form of a heart, right? I do the shape of a form of a heart, and then it comes back together, and it goes right back into the shape of a heart. And this is what I visualize, right? Visualization is the key to projecting what we want in the field. If we want to build a building, we can't build it unless we see it in our mind first and then bring it out into physicality. Well, the power of our thought is so strong and so powerful once we recognize how it works that just the thought of it implements it into the field, right? And so I see a heart in my family within this heart shape. So that's how I begin. And then now to protect the electric, I'm going to try, what I'm going to do is do the whole thing and then break it down. Because right now what I recognize is I'm breaking down step by step, and you're never going to know what I'm actually saying if I keep doing that. Let me tell you guys, this shit bothers the shit out of me to do this, because I'm exposing myself. I'm being vulnerable, and I don't like that. I don't like it. I'm a Scorpio. I'm a very private person. But you have to do this, because if I don't do it, you're not going to know how to do it for yourself. It's like that. So after I say I am one with the Holy Spirit of the infinite almighty force of love within love is a force that is the infinite almighty Holy Spirit that I am. After I say that 3 times, I say, this protection shielding is for myself, my children, my family members, and loved ones, to include my soul tribe, David Barteska, and all of our future generations to come, for those within this protection shielding. Around the physical body is an electric golden sphere, like a cage to protect the electric soul, and it is anchored deep within the earth for secure grounding. At the top of the head is a net of gold and silver electric light that wraps around every square inch of our physical body and is rooted deep within the earth from the base of our feet. For secure grounding. At the top of the head, to protect all communication within the network of the Holy Spirit, a wreath of white roses is tightly secured to the right to tighten and fasten all communication and those who communicate within the Holy Spirit. A bandwidth of red transparent light shields and protects and guards this communication to deflect and diffuse any possible interference. At the base of our core, at our 3 ports of entry, this bandwidth of red transparent light wraps around like a sash to protect and deflect and diffuse any possible ports of entry from an exterior force. This protection shielding is to protect us and guide us by the force and the power of the Holy Spirit of the infinite almighty force of love within all things, so that we are safe within our day and our night, through life and through death. Wherever we stand, wherever we sit, wherever we lie, we are protected by the force and the power of the Holy Spirit. This protection shielding is sealed with the right hand of truth, the left hand of compassion, my heart of absolute gratitude, and my mind of thankfulness. I pour this into the field so that it projects in all directions with gratitude. This protection shielding is sealed. Now, I made myself very vulnerable doing that. It's something I had to think about for a long time to share with others. But I do this every morning. And I've seen the protection it gives. And it doesn't mean that nothing is going to happen to my loved ones. We're all here of a free will to make choices. Meaning that when we're guided to do the right thing and we choose to do the wrong thing, that's on us. That's on us. And all we can do is teach our children to listen to the good voice, because we are listening to different ideas and we don't recognize that they come from outside sources. It is very real. We're picking up transmissions of what to do and what not to do, how to behave and how not to behave. This battle between good and evil is very real. And if we don't protect ourselves, we can easily be misguided and go off because of the pressure we have on our emotions. I know somebody who just went to prison for smashing their baby. When this young woman, she was grateful to have her baby, making TikToks because of the excitement she had with her baby, just all the love she had with her baby, and then found out she smashed her child. Now, when I say smash her child, her child, I don't know if it's going to be paralyzed or not, but we're talking about severe damage to the baby. Now, what gets people to do this shit? And this is where I talk about demons. And you can call them demons, you can call them aliens, you can call them extraterrestrial beings, you can call them entities, you can call them whatever they want. But they're against the goodwill of mankind. And they can override an individual's actions. And we don't recognize this is going on. And there are beings, there are people, I should say, who give willingly of their soul. Those people who say they sell their soul to the devil, they ain't playing. They're for real. And so they get 100% possession of their actions. And they will do that willfully. And that soul's in a lot of trouble to get out. It's very hard to get out. Not impossible, but it's very hard. And then there's people who are unwilling, but their soul has been compromised as young children. And that is through the rape of the children. And that's why so many children are raped, because these demons get right into their 3 ports of entry, which is their lower base core of their primal functions, and they latch onto their soul and they dominate their lives, and their lives are miserable. My grandmother was one of them. She was raped as a baby by her father and raped throughout her. It wasn't rape anymore. Now it's just making love to his child, right? And she grew up to love her father and be in love with him at the same time. That's some crazy shit, but that's where my family background comes from, right? And so what I mean by this is I watched my grandmother have multiple personalities and switch up her body movement, her hand gestures, her eye expression, her communication. I watched shit and I knew something was fucking wrong. As a kid, I was observing. I was just like, I'm watching these changes, and I know when that change happens, well, I'm gonna get in a lot of fucking trouble, and I don't even know what I'm doing wrong, kind of thing, right? I feel for my mother and my aunt and uncle who had to suffer growing up with my grandmother, and I feel for my grandmother for having to endure what she did as a child, right? And so my experience is personal, is real. I know what I see, and I've been led to understand and unravel this shit, this demonic shit. And it doesn't matter what we're calling them, but they're an opposing force to mankind. I've seen them with my eyes in the middle of the afternoon with somebody else. Somebody else saw the same thing I saw. That's when the fucking nail went in the coffin, and I'm on my fucking mission. I'm gonna take this shit down. Now I got confirmation. There's no fucking going back. And then later, I found out that there's good guys, because I don't believe in good guys. I've been left too long in the dark by myself alone to struggle to ever have believed in good guys, right? I believe in good people. I believe in good men. I believe in the good man of Yeshua and his words and his way. And that's what kept me going, right? This man and his way, and he's real. And Yeshua's way is being squashed, saying that Jesus is not real, right? Well, the Jesus figure was set up so that nobody has any belief now in the days and the times that we're in. But Yeshua's way is real. And I'm going to bring back the purpose and the meaning of his name. I'm going to make sure that his name that's been lied on gets corrected. And there are other way showers that I'll talk about in the future. But right now, I just want to focus on the one, and that's Yeshua. And then we'll see how all this unravels. If anybody has any questions about what I was saying, the red light is like a firewall. These beings live in a dimension where the light around them is red, these negative beings. And when they see somebody light up and pray, they can get them. Literally, they can get them. It's like a flashlight in the dark. It's like being in the alley and you don't want nobody to get you, but you fucking turn your light, your flashlight on. It's like, get them. And so this firewall allows for the concealing of the communication for those who communicate within the network of the Holy Spirit. If you're just praying and you're just giving praise in gratitude, you're spotted because you light up. You're spotted because you light up. And so that's what the red transparent light does. The wreath of white roses is like putting a physical lock to the right, because to right is to tighten and it's to fasten. The reason the visualization is important is because without visualization, we have no creation. It's just the fact. And once we recognize how much power our visualization has, there's no limiting this from actually being real, because it is just as real as putting a firewall that you can't fucking see in your computer at a distance. Somebody far away added a firewall to your computer that's physically in your face. How'd they do that shit? Because there's things happening on a quantum scale. Our thought, our visualization is a projection on a quantum scale. And we got a lot of motherfucking power. We got a lot of fucking power. And we've been denied this. And it's time to get it back. Now, I've been stepping into my power. The more my heart broke, the more power I gained. It's like the more I get crushed in my life, the stronger I become. And I'm 50 years old and I have a whole lot of fucking crushing that's gone on, right? That means I'm really fucking powerful. And when I say that, I don't say that in any other way except for this is gonna happen. This change that we need is going to happen, and there's no stopping it. There's no stopping it. I have full faith that what we're being led to uncover, the way of Yeshua, is going to lead us on the right path. Michael is his assistant, and you can find it in the Gnostic teachings. Look up the gospel. This is just to give you guys an idea if you want to look something up. The Gospel of Bartholomew. Bartholomew ended up being my favorite apostle of Yeshua, my favorite. And you can find him in the Gospel of Mary, where he's a little child and he needs help and he's sick. And something, I can't remember if it was just touching Yeshua's cloth or just his clothes or being around him, but Bartholomew got healed, right? And then you go to Bartholomew later in his gospel and you see him as one of the kids that was with him as in Mary's gospel. You see him now as Yeshua's disciple. This is what I mean by there's a pattern. It's consistent and it flows and it makes sense, right? There's no inaccuracy in there, and there's a story to be told, and it's left out of the main Bible. It's left out of the main Bible. I'm not putting the Bible to waste. I'm just putting it on the table to say we need to look at everything, and we need to reevaluate where there's no contradiction so that we can follow a straight and narrow path. To know is power. It says he was also known as Nathaniel, gift of God. Oh, please send me that. I haven't not come across that. I would like to see that, if you don't mind, when you have time, if you can put that on. I'm going to put a couple things on here for you guys to look at, as far as what I've talked about, like the gospel, the super gospel. Somebody called Robert Farrell wrote the super gospel. What he did was a very difficult task, but he did it. He took the Gospels that were left out of the Bible and he made them where they were consistent, where you could see a pattern and a flow. And he put them in there chronologically as best he could, and he did an extraordinary job. And he's like the Mike Tyson of these Gospels, right? The Apocrypha, or yeah, I believe they call the Apocrypha. So this is all new to me. I'm no scholar, right? I don't even have a formal education. This is important you guys know this, right? This is how new this stuff is to me. But I was led to find out what's going on. Why did they change this person's name? Why did they change Yeshua's name to Jesus? How is this shit working, right? Who's this Yahweh? And then I find out that he's a dragon. He's described as a fucking dragon. And people are just saying, oh yeah, don't pay attention to that. Well, how the fuck you not gonna pay attention to that? That shit's written right there. And then I found that written in the Sumerian Anunnaki text. And so, what's up? You know what I'm saying? What's up? And so that's when I was like, I'm on a task. I'm on a motherfucking mission. And I started putting the pieces together, and there's some really big going on in here in this box, but there's something going on outside this box that we got to keep it on the straight and narrow, where all this shit makes sense and it's not fantasy, because all this shit is very real and it's happening in on all scales. On all scales, there's nothing not happening, and there's nothing not real. Everything is very real. There's people going around saying that this is not real. This shit is fucking for real. If you know what pain feels like, this shit is real. And this machine lives off of pain. So take that shit to the bank, right? This is not real, but yet people feel pain. People feel pain and we're saying it's not real. Por favor. All right, guys. That was me being vulnerable with you guys. I got to look back and see what that looked like, right? I never shared that. I don't believe I've ever shared that. Let me know if I have. I don't think I've ever shared that. I've contemplated it so many times in my mind to share it that I don't know if I already did or did it. That's how many times I've played it in my mind to do it. And I was like, no, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. But this is it. It's out. I hope that helped understand, what kind of reality we're in, what kind of communication can come in and can be interfered with if we don't protect ourselves, our physical bodies, and our electric souls. And till the next Saturday, right? I enjoyed speaking with you guys. This is Truth and Integrity Warrior, Michelle Angelic, saying that this is where we're going to be from now on, live, where we can communicate and talk about these subjects. I'm not going to be posting them as videos. I'm going to start doing one live a week. And I hope you guys can join me more often and communicate more, because I'd like to talk with you guys. I like to hear what you guys have to say. Get in the mix, get in the mix. To know is power. You're looking good. Looking good. Thank you. That's so good to hear. Nobody tells me that. I appreciate it. I got one guy at work who tells me all the time, right? But I look a fucking mess, so I know he's lying. I know he's lying. See, I'm glad you are doing good. I hope to talk to you again soon. All right, Mr. To know is power. I hope you get more in the mix, more communication. When did we talk before is what I would like to know. Is this the first time we talk? Because I think this is the first time we talk, Mr. To know is power, right? Well, you'll catch me next Saturday. I'm trying for 7, between 7 and 7:30 every Saturday. You guys be well, be good with the good of God, and know that all we got to do is make some adjustments. His name is Yeshua, not Jesus. It's Yeshua. It's who we follow. You guys be well.